it's not just pastors who will go out and say anything to support Roy Moore. It's also it can be just about anybody if they work at Breitbart. Here, in fact, is what's his name, Joel Pollack, right? He is the Breitbart editor who is defending Roy Moore. Now, this guy, you can take the tack of the pastor, right, which is like God can't make a stone that he can't lift, or can he? Therefore, Roy Moore, coming back from Vietnam, only had the opportunity to date young girls because all his other possible wives were married already, and young girls are purer, even though the one he married was already chewed gum as it was. But then you can't just have the pastor out there, because there's also other voters who might not respond to that, right? You might need voters who want like a more hip reference. That's what Joel Pollack brings from Breitbart. Here he is with Chris Cuomo.
Well, when you talk about volume, you started the segment by saying allegations of child molestation. Right now, there's only one single allegation of a woman who was under legal age. So you're
pause it,
right? Because you had that.
Hey, and here's a tip, okay? I know it gets confusing in this modern age, but a woman under the age of consent is a girl. I'm just going to throw that out there. And I suppose you could say, a 16-year-old is a young woman. This is Joel Pollack's big thing. You should not lump in the 17 and 16-year-olds with the 14-year-old.
Yeah, he's not a pedophile. He's an ephebophile. That's totally different.
Okay. Single allegation of a woman who was under legal age. So you're
arguably too, right? Because you had that other lady, 16, 17. She wasn't a minor, but she was very young to have somebody who's that age come on her, let alone if it was an unwanted touching known as an assault.
In 1973, Ringo Starr hit #1 on the Billboard charts with the song "You're 16, You're Beautiful in Your Mind," and it was a remake of an earlier song. He was 30-something at the time, singing about a 16-year-old. You want to take away Ringo Starr's...
You can't be serious.
I mean,
you can't be serious.
You can't be serious. You're talking about relationships that were legal.
You think that Ringo Starr's song is supposed to be a nod towards allowing 30-year-old men to prey on teenagers? You don't believe that, Joel. You're a parent. You don't believe that.
You're also a parent, and you know that when you raise sons, the risk that our sons face today is that they're going to be exposed to accusations that may or may not be true. And that's a new thing. You talk about raising daughters, you always worry about your daughters, the kind of risks they're going to face. But what our sons have to worry about is what you're talking about, where you're lumping in allegations of illegal behavior with legal conduct, and it's part of a campaign of character assassination that the mainstream media has been part of, and people...
Character appraisal. It's not one woman who came out and said something that's a little bit sketchy. You've got to vet all accusations. This is different. You got numbers and you got degree.
Chris Cuomo saying you're not serious, Joel Pollack. I would like him to have said, all right, I'm going to take you at face value. Okay, could you tell us more about that song?
No rock star from the 60s has ever been sexually inappropriate with a teenage girl.
Right. You're going to erase Ringo Starr? And his number one hit? This was, look, Ringo Starr was the least appreciated Beatle, and you're going to erase his one hit just because Roy Moore molested a 14-year-old? Seriously? They were probably one of the most renowned bands of the 20th century. And this guy just wants his due, and you're going to throw that all away because Roy Moore groped a 16-year-old behind a parking lot when he was in his 30s. Yeah, just when Joel Pollack gets out of that chair and just walks down the hall, goes into the bathroom and looks in the mirror, does he just go like, "Good job, bud. Nailed it"? And he had that in his back pocket, right? The Ringo Starr thing.
Oh, yeah. That definitely came over the emails from Steve.
Right.
Also, that song was kind of creepy.
Well, I also imagine that maybe he was not writing it about himself as a 30-year-old, but possibly talking about...
Well, it was a cover. We should point out it was a cover of an earlier song by American rockabilly singer Johnny Burnett.
Who actually ended up serving... no idea. Just a joke.
The Sherman Brothers. Apparently.
The Sherman Brothers. There you go. I imagine that was probably just like, writing a song that they were writing about like when they were contemporaneous of that age. I wonder how old the Sherman Brothers were when they wrote that song. Unbelievable, but believable.
Ringo's got to be like, stop blowing me up, man.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos